Yo, what's going on? Corey here. This video is going to be directed towards treating TMJ headaches with pharmaceuticals. Excuse me, I'm still kind of waking up. It's my day off, so just please understand. So, I mean, everyone always has this mentality of like pills are bad. Treating anything with pills is just like the worst thing you can do. I heartily disagree. Um, there seems to be this war between Eastern and Western medicine over the past, 5, 6, 8 years or something, and people are taking really firm standpoints in either one. But you know what? Neither one is better, and neither one is worse. They just have advantages and disadvantages, just like anything else does in life. So, I mean, how does one go about beginning to treat their TMJ or TMJ headaches with pharmaceuticals? Well, the first thing I would do is get on a potent muscle relaxer. There are lots of different muscle relaxers out there. For instance, there's cyclobenzaprine, Soma, Amryx, which is an extended release version of cyclobenzaprine, baclofen. There's a lot of different drugs out there. Um, the one that I'm currently taking, and it seems to be well, first of all, I would highly recommend getting one that you can take during the day as well as during the nighttime. Yes, at night, that is when you're going to have your worst clenching. Like, for instance, um, when you when you chew during the day, you only spend maybe like, I think it's 40 minutes or 20 minutes actually with your teeth being like tooth on tooth throughout the whole day. When you're grinding your teeth at night, you could spend like 40 minutes of every hour that you sleep. Pretty insane. So it's important to have something you're going to be taking before bed every night. But it's good to have something that you can take during the day too, because when you're actually conscious, you want to have something that you can take right then and there for immediate relief, right? So for that reason, I do not recommend taking cyclobenzaprine or Amryx, for the extended release version, because specifically because you cannot take them during the day. If you take them during the day, you will be a freaking zombie. Sorry, cute girl. You'll be a freaking zombie, and people will always be asking you, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" Blah blah blah, and you'll just be like, "Well, I'm just trying to treat my condition, and this is what I need right now." But at the same time, it's like the side effects aren't really worth it. So I take baclofen. Baclofen does not cause you to be drowsy unless you take up to 90 milligrams, which is more than the legal limit, anyways. And I read this on Wikipedia that baclofen is just one of those insane, just like I forget the word that I'm looking for, but it's just like it's unique in the sense that you don't, allegedly, you don't build up a tolerance to it. Like, you can take it like several times, a day over the course of years, and you just don't build up a tolerance. Like, that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard of for a drug. Like, if opiates were that way or something, people would go broke, because they'd just be like, every time would be like the first time. It'd be just the most amazing thing ever. So, don't think that I'm a proponent of opiates. I think they're kind of a last case, last choice. I'm not very articulate today, but they, under certain circumstances, they are incredibly helpful and incredibly effective. So, just know that. So yeah, I definitely recommend baclofen. I take 20 milligrams per dose 3 times a day. I usually take one right when I wake up, I take one midday, and I take one right before I go to bed. And that seems to work okay for me. I still have an insane amount of muscle tension that's unresolved and that I can't really do anything about, but the baclofen does help. Maybe not. Well, maybe doesn't help in the effectiveness that I wish it would, but it still is making a significant enough impact to make it worth my while. So baclofen, Baclofen, is a pretty safe and effective medication. So what else can you do? Nortriptyline is an antidepressant. It's a tricyclic antidepressant, which is different from the SSRIs. It's a really old drug. It's like probably like 50 years old. Um, so I'll just talk about my experience with it a little bit. So when I started having problems, initially my TMJ presented itself as anxiety. Okay, and it's really, really, really common for people that have TMJ on a severe level to have really bad anxiety. Like I had such bad social anxiety, like I couldn't go to Subway and like order a sandwich without like feeling super anxious. Um, Terrible, right? When I first started taking nortriptyline, my anxiety came down quite a bit. Um, that was good, and although it didn't really do much, at the time I was more anxious than depressed, and but it did help up my anxiety. Um, yeah, that's good. What else? There's a pretty common headache medication called Topamax. It's an anti-seizure medication, and they don't even know how it works exactly, but basically what it does is it makes the brain less reactive. That's the whole reason that people get anxiety, is because their brain becomes incredibly reactive, and that's how panic attacks start. Is because your brain is so reactive that you just can't control it. You can't even keep up with your own thoughts, and you become overwhelmed really easily, and then you go into a panic attack because you're just freaking out and you can't control it, and it's all in your head. When I first started taking Topamax, it takes 30 days to kick in, a solid month. And before, I had incredibly bad anxiety, like to the point I couldn't even go grocery shopping without freaking out. And I started taking Topamax when it kicked in. It was seriously like night and day. Like my anxiety went away almost overnight, and it cured my panic attacks. And it almost, I mean, it sounds kind of dramatic, but in some way, it might have saved my life. My anxiety got so bad, and I was in so much excruciating pain all the day that I admit I thought about killing myself, sometimes on a daily basis. And it allowed me to actually function in society without having to deal with just like incredible fear all the time. So Topamax is good. It's better for treating migraines, but in my case, off-label, it was incredibly effective in treating my anxiety. So I'm a big proponent for Topamax, and the only really side effects is you get like, it feels like your foot's going to sleep a lot, and it can sometimes be like a little painful, as if your feet actually falling asleep can be. But that's like the only side effect I got, other than maybe like a little bit of like, I don't really see any drastic weight loss or anything, but it's not uncommon, I guess. So yeah, good drug. What else? Opiates, I mean, doctors are so freaking conservative when it comes to opiate use. It really, really pisses me off. I went into a doctor one time, and I told him that I was in so much pain I was thinking about killing myself. He basically thought I was crazy, got angry with me, and thought I was like drug seeking because I wanted to get high. I mean, this stuff happens every day. People that have real legitimate pain, weird, real legitimate pain, are trying to get treated, and doctors are telling them no, opiates are bad and addictive and harmful and blah 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 blah. Fuck off. Excuse my language. If you're in excruciating, crippling pain, and there's no way you can get up, because we all have responsibilities, we all have kids, well, not all of us, but we all have to do dishes, we have to dress ourselves in the morning, we have to get up out of friggin' bed and go through our lives. And if you are in excruciating pain 24 hours a day, and there's nothing that even helps, or if you don't even know what's causing it, I mean, one, you're going to be incredibly unmotivated in the first place to do anything. You'll probably want to just die. I mean, there was a point where I was ready to die. Like, it's scary. But opiates will help you get through that, even though they're not the best way of doing so. So please see part 2. I'm going to start a new video because my time's up. So, oh wait, is it going to go? my god, it is. Usually there's a 10-minute cap. So, where was I? Opiates. I mean, I take Percocet, and I had to like go to this doctor that I have because he's real conservative. I had to see him for over a year before he would even prescribe me Percocet. I was taking Vicodin for a long time, and Vicodin comes in like two strengths, really, the 5 milligram. People always call it 500s, but the 500 is the amount of acetaminophen, not the amount of Vicodin or hydrocodone. So I started, yeah, they put me on the 10 milligram Vicodin, so I was capped out, and I was taking like, there were days when I could take like 4 of those things, and yeah, and eventually, what I did is because if I took them every day, my tolerance was always at a kind of a high cap, so I would take 3 every 3 days. So every third day, I'd be in pain for like 2 days, and then on the third day, I was probably like, not in moderate pain. So, but Vicodin, I don't really like it because it doesn't last very long, and it's just, I don't feel like it's a very effective, pain blocker. So I got my doctor to switch to Percocet or oxycodone, because I just told him, the Vicodin is not really working that well for me, and I'd like to try something different. Obviously, I already had something in mind, Oxy. And it gets a really bad rap because people do get addicted to it and they do abuse it, but for people, and it sucks for people that are actually in pain, actually need it, because it's like you need to be out of pain, and it's like it's really effective at doing that. It's just too bad that people abuse it all the time. So I take 10 milligram oxys. Sometimes, see, with these, I could just take 1 and I would feel, pretty good. Like, I could just take 1 and actually feel the effects of it. With Vicodin, I had to take at least 2 10 milligrams, which is the equivalent of taking 4 of the 500s, as people call them, just to be out of pain. And it sucks with opiates, your tolerance goes up incredibly fast. Like, if you take 2 pills on Monday, on Tuesday, the same 2 pills that you took are going to be, significantly less effective than the day before. And if you take them for months or even years, your tolerance is just going to be that much stronger. So I definitely recommend trying to abstain if you're not in significant pain. So the times where you are in significant pain, they're actually going to make a significant impact. So, and yeah, I mean, Percocet or oxycodone is just way better drug therapeutically, and I try to. It sounds terrible, but I try to take mine on an empty stomach because it seems to be a lot more effective that way. I mean, there are probably people that tell me, gotta take it with food, blah blah blah, but I don't get nausea. That's one of the only other side effects, and I'm in pain, so that's how it's most effective. So, and the only other real side effect of Oxy or even Vicodin is you can nod off if you take more than your dosage. Obviously, if you take a lot, don't fucking drive. I mean, it's just stupid because you'll be on the freeway. You could be on the freeway or something, and you'll nod off for a second, and then traffic might stop suddenly in front of you and plow. You go right into the back of somebody else, and possibly cause irreparable damage to them. So please don't abuse it and drive. Just like anything else. So yeah, I mean those are the things that I take on a regular basis. I just take baclofen and Percocet right now. I don't take nortriptyline anymore because after a certain point I felt like it wasn't doing anything for me anymore, and I don't take Topamax anymore because again after a certain point I didn't feel like it was doing anything for me anymore. But part of the reason that I allowed myself to stop taking Topamax is because I had gotten into a neuromuscular dentist and I got a really effective night guard